This is the BlahCade Pinball Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Freebus, aka Shut Your Trap. Joining me, as always, halfway across the world, is Jared Morgan.
Well, hello there, everyone.
And then, because it is our annual State of Zen with Mel Kirk, also, hey, it's Mel Kirk.
Hey, everybody. Good to be back here. Jared, Chris, it's been a while.
Right? Yeah,
it's been
a solid year there. A very busy year for everybody around going around here. So yeah, this is our annual talk about all things Zen, where we've been this past year, where we're going for down the line in the future. But definitely the thing that's been most prominent on my mind, it's been that AtGames cabinet, because Mel, I'm not kidding you, it's the only way I want to play pinball anymore. Playing on a dedicated cabinet is so amazing. It's like, I know that you've seen that I had that PinSim cabinet before, and I had a monitor that was in vertical, and that was one way of playing. But no, with a physical machine that you can nudge around and bash around on, it's amazing. That's definitely where it's at for me.
Yeah, that's good to hear, because a lot of work has gone into that, and it's taken several generations and a lot of trial and error over the years. I think we've talked about the potential of cabinets, and I think that we're finally just now getting to the point where like the vision is being realized.
Yeah. And it seems like, speaking with your partnership with AtGames in particular, it's really been gaining momentum in terms of how often you've had releases coming. Obviously, you have, I think 4 skins out now for the machines.
If I'm doing I'd have to count them. I mean, I know, so Jurassic is the last one that we announced, and we've got Star Trek, Attack from Mars, Peanuts, and...
Oh, and Adams, so that's 5.
And Adams Family, 5.
Yeah. And that was of the, I know way back when, I think we'd said, 15 was the target? Are we still looking at 15 down the line, or has that plan changed a little bit?
Yeah, I think we are. There's been a significant number of challenges in the manufacturing landscape, and PK over at AtGames, I think, has got to be one of the best in the world at managing this stuff, because he's done it for so long. And even when he's talking to me about the challenges they're facing, it is a real tricky situation. Both just with pieces of things available and materials, and then shipping costs and all this stuff. So we got out of the gate really good, and I think that it was really well timed. If we had waited for later, it might not have gone so smoothly. But we still have a plan to get all those machines out. It's just going to take a little while longer, but I'm looking at what we've done in this short amount of time. 5, and especially the licenses we have, I think it's pretty great. So yes, there's definitely more coming.
Obviously, this past year, a lot of the, basically since the release of Adam's Family there, a lot of the focus had been on the latency issues, and that has since been shored up. The games play phenomenal now. They're really, it's really tight with the flipper and the ball going. You feel definitely connected. Can you dive into a little bit about what went into the solving that latency problem? Because it seems like you guys were in discussions with all sorts of people to try and solve this issue.
We completely rebuilt the code base.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
We went all the way back to 0, and everything is Linux based now. And it was pretty crazy. It was a monumental effort. This problem we worked on 18 months. I had I feel like my team was about ready to give up. We never give up on anything. So we found a few things which led us to where we went. It was a very painstakingly slow process. I know everybody was super patient with us, but now that it's done, and we now don't have to worry about it anymore. We were literally celebrating when we got the test back, and the latency was what it was, and below 60 ms, and everything. So it's finally fixed, but probably one of the biggest efforts to fix a problem that we've ever had to do. Spend resource-wise.
Yeah, and I noticed that it wasn't just latency that got fixed. There were some graphical enhancements that went in when this all came back out. Certain tables all of a sudden looked a little bit better. And then all the sound got balanced out so that it was all equal across. And it seemed like the surround sound kit all of a sudden was really being utilized much more than it had been previously.
Yeah, I think all this takes time to come together. We are software. AtGames is hardware. Although, I mean, yeah, they make their own tables too. But to bring two kind of companies in and really have to like get down into the nitty gritty to make everything phenomenal, it takes time. It's like year after year, technologies get better.
Yeah.
They get a little cheaper. That's just the normal progression. So I think that we're in a place now where, all the cool, like the SSF kit. I don't know if you played Knight Rider yet, but in my opinion, like, dude, that thing is banging with the SSF with Knight Rider. It's awesome.
Honestly, Knight Rider and Battlestar are just like putting it through a workout. It feels so good. And I was telling Jared this earlier, because I can play in OTG mode also. I have my computer hooked up to it. And while the lighting effects are, and the graphics are a little bit, well, I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot bit better with just playing it in Pinball FX or playing in Pinball M, without that surround sound feel, it's not as immersive. Feeling the pop bumpers going off, feeling the ball rolling around, with everything, it just sinks you in, and you no longer are concerned about, oh my gosh, there's a jaggy on that rail. It doesn't matter anymore. It's about where is that ball, and you can tell what's firing and where it is on the table. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the overall experience is really, really great. And what we hear from a lot of players, I mean, their whole family is enjoying it. We have a wide variety of content, so it's their kids can play them. I have pictures. People send me their pictures, and it makes life great. Like you see someone's little daughters playing My Little Pony, and then the mom and dad, like, and recently we've got some of the M-rated stuff, and they're like, we're celebrating Halloween, and it's just like, it's cool.
Yeah.
So that's what pinball should be about. And all the pieces, all the hardware is now in sync with the software, and we've gotten a lot of the issues behind us. I think now what we need to do is make sure that people can experience the machine in like more locations to figure out if they want to get one.
Yeah.
And I think that we're gonna, from here we should really start to scale up.
Do you feel like there is I know that PK made an announcement, something to the effect that there's 52 tables coming in 2025. When I did a breakdown of the math of what that meant, if I excluded all the Star Wars and the Marvel tables, there's exactly 53 tables that have not been ported over yet. I don't know if those 53 are the ones coming over or anything like that, but do you feel like there's a time where the tables are going to be day and date release on Pinball FX and then also at the AtGames platform?
Yeah, hopefully that'll happen in 2025. I think that we have a release coming in June, and I think that's the target to launch day and day. So when Zen announces a game, you'll see the AtGames logo on the logo garden.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Circling back to that SSF kit, and just kind of some of the things I've noticed in general, bouncing back and forth between AtGames and playing OTG mode, cabinet mode of Pinball FX and Pinball M. First off, is there a point where those games can utilize the surround kit in AtGames' cabinet? Or is that an exclusive thing to them?
Oh, from the OTG, I see what you're
Yes.
saying. No, that's an exclusive feature.
Okay.
All these builds of the games on AtGames are all extra work, extra coding, engineering. It's a special build for AtGames.
Okay.
So the OTG versions don't support the SSF kit.
Okay.
The Steam versions, right?
Yes, Steam. Similarly, I know that the table angle on cabinet mode in Pinball M and Pinball FX, it's kind of a slight angle, like the rails are going in a little bit towards the top, as opposed to, and this would be both with mobile, previous mobile versions, and then what's going on with AtGames, where it is a straight, right down the pipe, overhead look. Is that a choice specific to knowing that it's cabinet mode, even though you offer cabinet in Pinball FX, or is that something that maybe we'll see one day also pop into the games proper?
All right, so you kind of stumped me here because I'm actually not aware of that.
Ah,
So that is the detail of a product. Like we should have deep. I'm sure it's a design decision,
hmm,
and I leave those for the most part now to the team. So
okay,
it's probably specifically for the format that in which you're playing. We probably found that to be best on the AtGames unit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yep,
Um,
good question though.
Hmm.
Got
last
me
one
wondering.
that kind of goes along with this in terms of the difference between having cabinet mode, just regular game, and when you're also bringing it over to a cabinet. And I know that we've touched on this in the past, but every time a new title comes out, I have to go on the backglass hunt and find my own image to import it into Pinball FX. Um, and what's funny is that sometimes the images that then pop up on AtGames are completely different than what everybody else has been finding, whether on the Zen site or whatever. Is there a licensing reason or something that prevents Zen from just making them readily available or even shipping with the game itself?
It's a funny question, and it's something we've been talking about for years and years, right?
Hmm.
um, I just don't think that we've seen the value in like doing it, or the request isn't big enough compared to the requests we have for everything else, and
Yeah.
so it's a lot of art assets and management, and then when you do have to put all those through for licensor approval, and then they're always wondering like, where's this going to go, and are we going to monetize it, and all these questions, and I think it just gets bogged down because it's just an add-on asset. We're not charging for it, but we can't really. I mean, we showed them a backlash, and they kind of don't get it. But I mean, I just don't think there's been a concerted effort to go get it done.
Okay.
So I'm making a bunch of excuses, right? So no, I mean, like we should probably at this point, now that we've solved all these other issues, we could probably figure this out.
Okay. Um, moving beyond that, so you were talking about how right now you're able to kind of focus more on, now that you've got the latency issues and all that, centering your focus once again, narrowing it down, and being able to work on the content more with AtGames. I'm curious to know, in general, how are we feeling about like, are we where is Zen where they want to be with those releases with 4K, or are there even dreams and aspirations that you guys are hoping to still pump through later down the line?
You mean with actual 4K
Just
fidelity?
using
Is
the
that what
4K
we're talking
cabinet. I'm talking about the 4K, the AtGames 4K
about? Oh, like
cabinet.
what we want to do with it.
Yeah,
I think there's so much potential here.
yeah,
I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of because we do have plans
yeah.
like for more live services and events and things that people can participate in and building that sense of community. And I think that there's a lot that we can do when a player's invested that much money, or I consider it like a family has invested that much money in this unit and it goes into their home. Of course, we want to give them a steady stream of content that they can have fun with, but like there's more that we can do with that content. We can provide them more value with every table. It's not just that they have to play it, and we have their leaderboards, and now they're doing the Flipper Friends tournaments and things like that. I think that you'll see those ideas like blossom into larger scale events,
Mm-hmm.
and we can tie those in with our licensors. We can celebrate other forms of what's going on in the fandom of those IPs, perhaps. I don't know, maybe like there's esport level activity where it's money on the line. There's a lot of cool things that we could potentially
Mm-hmm.
do.
The potential for releasing these cabinets in the physical world. Again, I know this is not has nothing to do with you guys. It would be entirely AtGames. But I know that recently I saw Stern had their Jurassic Park Home Edition in Costco, and yeah, people were playing it. And I know the last Christmas, that's when I saw the Arcade One Up Star Wars in Costco. I imagine that that's what you're talking about with getting these out there more, is being able to maybe have these at physical locations.
Exactly, and that is definitely on our roadmap. You will see these machines. I think I can say it. I mean, I don't know. You'll see these machines in retailers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say which one specifically, but I think people will walk up to this. They know. I mean, most people know what to do when they walk up to a pinball machine. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of it.
Mm.
They have to hear it and feel it and be like, whoa, this thing is for real. This really feels good and it plays well. And look at all these games. I think our price point is really, really attractive. I think how the quality of the machine and it not breaking down is really, really great. And then when you turn it on, you connect it to Wi-Fi, all the things you get to do with it. So I think it's not a hard sell. People just need to be able to know it exists and get a feel for it.
Honestly, that's my favorite part is that from the time I flick the switch to the time I'm playing, it's 1 minute. And uh, and then even table to table, it's only maybe like a 15-second load screen. It's just boom, you're in it and you're going. I have my wife does daycare at the house, and I have one of them is 3 years old, this boy, and he's now addicted to pinball. He just wants to play the dinosaur tables, and so first he was playing Dino Dynasty, and then Jurassic Park came out, and he doesn't even touch Dino Dynasty anymore. It's the 3 Jurassic Park tables. So it's really kind of fun watching him and watching his pinball skills elevate. It's kind of mind blowing just watching that happen in real time. So yeah, I definitely see where that potential is.
Cool.
People getting their hands on them. I also wanted to comment with that block of tables that'll be coming next year. And I know that just this past month, it seems like we've had a table release almost weekly. And I do gotta say, it felt like Rock Band as they were releasing new music tracks every week. If you're on top of it, you don't even notice the cost, and I definitely have to applaud you guys with your pricing. $5 a table has been great. It doesn't feel like it's not as painful when you're dropping in those little doses, as opposed to a much larger pack where all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe I have to think about that, because it's one thing to think, oh, just one less Starbucks a week, as opposed to, oh, I'm going to have to not go out to lunch for 2 days, it's,
Yeah. I think, I mean, because you've been there kind of since the beginning. I think
Yeah.
a new user, and this is a problem that we have in pinball world in general, is a brand new player comes in and holy crap, like there's
Right.
just, I can spend so much, it's too much. I do think someone, this family or the player who's investing this much money, I think they're, yeah, they turn it on right now. There's a good amount of content, but at some point it's going to be like, well, this is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's okay. People like the choice. People like the variety.
I do think the pricing is good though. I agree with you.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems fair. I think that was my biggest concern, was what was going to be the difference in price between if you bought it on Steam and if you bought it on this cabinet. And then just like I said, that surround sound kit, it's an essential thing to buy. Folks, if you haven't bought one of these machines yet, get the surround sound kit. It's the deal. It's what makes all the difference in the world. And it's, like I said, I shouldn't say I definitely prefer playing these versions over going OTG and bringing in those, because it's instantaneous, and that feel is what makes it just hands down. So, no, I definitely got to say, Mel, that great job on making this happen. Have you noticed, and I don't know, again, if this is anything that you want to talk about, just the I know that when you were partnered with One-Up, that there was a distribution issue, and obviously that was during the COVID era, so massive amounts of problems going on there. Distribution of this, obviously, like you said, there's been some manufacturing differences, but I believe that they're doing things in America now. Is that what my understanding is correct? Some assembly?
Some assembly might be done here. I mean, we have everything is shipped into the port of LA, and I know we have a distribution center in somewhere in Georgia. I believe it's Savannah, Georgia. But I think that the factors with AtGames are different than what happened with Arcade One-Up. I think Arcade One-Up lost interest in the category for whatever reason, and AtGames, we're just suffering from global shortages, which there's no way that they could control or have an effect on. So it's two different things. Like the issues, I wouldn't even call them issues. I just think that they're factors and things that you couldn't have planned for or guessed. And even then, AtGames' investment into this is huge, and they've bought ahead. They put a lot of they risked a lot to go forward with this. So As far as a partnership goes, like I'm impressed that they would go and it feels good. Like Zen is investing a certain amount and they are, but on the manufacturing side, like I can still hit a button and distribute to all, hundreds of millions of players, right?
Yeah.
With the push of a button. They are focusing on growing a very specific segment of this business, and it requires a lot of upfront. And so they're trying to minimize all of the issues that we're facing, but some of it might be like we can't get to 15 different designs in the time that we wanted. Well, here's 5. I still think that that's a fantastic result so far.
All right. Well, that's enough of the AtGames talk. Jared, let's turn some things over to you so you can get a chance at asking a question or two.
Yeah, well, look, I know that's, telling out the AtGames stuff. I know there's not really any sort of distribution partnership for it down here in Oceania yet, from what I'm aware of. I'm not really expecting any commentary about that. But so what I need to know is, if I don't have a cabinet, how else can I play things outside of like a computer? And I jumped to VR. So I'm wondering what's happening with VR.
Okay, we announced that there's a VR game in production. I don't know how many months ago, sometime this year.
It was in a Pinball Bites, I think.
It was in a Pinball Bites.
Yeah.
We just showed some glimpses, and the game has come a long way, and I'm really, really excited. I think we're going to be able to formally announce and show a lot in probably January, February of next year.
That's great.
Oh, Chris, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, as Chris dies.
Sorry, I've been battling a massive chest cold. It's not fun. So yeah.
Oh no.
If I turn red, folks, this is why. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I expect we're going to be releasing. Like I say, Q1. I don't want to. I like March, April, something like that. The game should be out, and it's awesome. There's so much I want to say, but this is one of the, after working in pinball for a long time and doing the same thing, some people would say over and over and over, how can that be fun? Every once in a while, you get to reinvent it in a way, and we're doing some things that are going to be, I think, they're going to really freshen things up. So if you have, and we're going to be on Quest, first on Quest Meta 3.
Quest 3. Yeah.
Quest 3. And you know what the Quest 3 can do, all the certain things. So you can let your imagination run wild. Yeah.
I see where you're going here. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. I don't want to overhype it. I will let you all decide, because for me, as someone who's worked in pinball now for nearly 20, it's 15, 17 years, whatever it's been, I feel like it's really fresh and really cool. So
that's going to be amazing. So we just need to wait just that little bit longer. Maybe I'd say first half of next year, and that under promises so you can over deliver.
It's also going to be the very first time when certain games ever see VR that I know everybody wants to play. So,
oh wow,
okay,
that's man. You should stop talking, Mel. Any trouble.
It sounds like you really want to
tell us everything. Yeah, it sounds like you want to really tell us everything, but we should stop there. So the other way that has been a bit of a gap in the market for a while now with the studio is mobile. I'm wondering what you can tell us about the developments in mobile.
Yeah, so we're going live with a closed beta on the mobile game in a couple days, and I'm sure we'll get you and Chris in there as well. But
sounds great.
This will be the first, it's been quite a while since we were in mobile, and we're definitely missing that part of just having a presence, a modern day presence. I can tell you, we're trying to keep it simple. We're going to have, you can buy tables or you can play, watch ad-based gameplay. So that's it. There's no monetization gimmicks. There's no gotcha systems. There's no anything. And we're just focusing on being the very best portable pinball experience. And that's it. Not trying to be too smart. So if you like our tables and you want to play them on your phone or your iPad and just have them with you anywhere, it's going to be available, and simple as that. And of course, we're going to have cool features and live services and leaderboards and all the fun tournament stuff and different modes. And we'll see how it goes. And just keep expanding it as we find success, because mobile is much different than PC and console, as you know, just in terms of running a business, like running a live service game on mobile. But yeah, I'm really excited that it'll be here soon.
That's really good. It's good news. More ways to play pinball when you're out and about.
Yes.
And you want to just separate yourself from the world for just that little bit. It's good.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Well, I mean, we have tons of players who that's where they play. They don't have a console, PC, or a cabinet or a VR headset.
I was gonna say
they've just been asking for years, and we're finally getting it to them.
Yeah, because I know that I have a friend who he doesn't have a PC that can handle gaming anymore. But he's like, I got a phone. I'm waiting.
Yeah, we've learned so much these last couple of years working with Apple and Netflix. Right, we did the Zen Pinball Arcade, Zen Pinball Party, and we did Pinball Masters with Netflix. Let me tell you, we learned so much about UI and mobile app design. Like, I feel like, you know, we're gonna bring you the best we probably could have, and I'm so glad we made those other games. Otherwise, it might have still been clunky. But now it's gonna be really nice.
I know you've definitely done, like, over the course of the studio, there's always been a lot of experimentation in the wild with mobile, like, all the time. You were pushing out different apps, different ways of playing, you know, so it's good to see all that hard work's paid off finally, and you've got something that's sort of where you want it to be now, or, you know, at least at the point where you think it's ready to have people look at it and give you that feedback that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so when you guys get in there, we'll definitely want your feedback.
Okay, we're ready.
Cool. Well, somebody will be reaching out in the next couple of days, so you'll be in it. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Let's move it over into just the studio itself, Zen Studios. See where we are in things. I know that when we last talked, obviously you guys had gone through a crunch of having to pare down. Wondering where we are at this point in staffing. Are we, maintaining status quo, or are we back to expanding the studio?
Yeah. So we survived a very difficult period, and the game industry has been brutal the last couple of years. A lot of studios failed, and we're currently at 75 people, which is basically the size we were when we were acquired. So
okay,
we did a big scale up. We were at 140 plus, and yeah, now we're at back to 75. And I'd say so. We've added a couple people recently, and I think we're going to be we are hiring a couple roles. So we see our recovery happening. All of our indicators and things that we look at as a business healthy. Yeah, we're doing well again. So that's good. And I've seen this happen in the industry a couple times, but I'd say this one was the scariest, just in terms of the crazy amounts of what was going on around us. It was chaotic and scary.
Yeah.
So feel very fortunate that we have our supporters support us, and like Pinball help is decent enough business that it keeps everybody going. And yeah, inflation has hit. I mean, like things, we have completely different economics now for what it costs to build a pinball table. So, but still, the fan base and the player base is big enough. And, even though we made some mistakes along the way and some interesting decisions that didn't pan out, like we're still here and things are looking good.
Are you, is the studio still doing games outside of pinball, or have things just kind of narrowed their focus into only pinball?
Yeah, so that was, when after we went through the reduction, we basically went back to home base, and we kind of said we're going back to our roots. And so that's been our mission for the last 12 months, and it's been all pinball related. And a lot of the tables that were greenlit during that expansion, those are the ones that are releasing now. But what we're really focusing on is I've gone back to platform and making quality platforms in which that can house good pinball content, and then expanding distribution. So the VR game, the mobile game, working with AtGames. Every time we make a table, it needs to go to PC, console, mobile, VR, and AtGames, right? So having that wide pipe. And during that time, we haven't been developing any other games. We remember we had Planet Mini Golf, which was actually, it was live in early access. We actually removed that from Steam and paused that for the time being.
Right.
We don't have an RPG in development right now, although we are pitching a very big one. I'm hopeful it's going to be greenlit, and then we will have the RPG team back in action. And so then you'll see that multifaceted of Zen. I think a healthy Zen is when we have we have more than just one genre being supported. Our expertise is pinball, mini golf, RPG. I'd love to, and also for the team, just because a lot of those guys they'll work on pinball as long as they it's here. But I know that what they really want to do. So at least some of them, but that team is creating a lot of great platform for us. Like Pinball M, I think was a breath of fresh air.
Oh yeah.
With what they did, and that's a lot of the RPG team worked in that.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Oh right, that's really good.
yeah,
I mean, having multiple avenues for revenue for a studio is just good business anyhow. So, it's good to see that, there are like that actually speaks to like, more of a studio health perspective as well, that you're thinking about that in the future. Because a lot of people, when all the reductions were happening, it was going, what's going to happen with the studio? Like, is it, is this the end sort of thing? It was very doomsday. But I think, yeah, the plans you're making now will shore that up a little bit. So you've got a couple of different pathways to go down if you need to, which is good.
yeah, I think so. And again, I mean, I can't overstate, like when things were falling apart for a lot of companies, and we were cutting, headcount. Still, that our baseline revenue is enough to support the operation as it is, and players supporting us. So we're all very grateful for that.
Do you
That's
feel
really good.
that Zen is in control of their own future now?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That's really good.
You
That's
know,
great to hear.
I don't know. You guys probably saw the announcement that Saber Interactive was not able to, like us and 4AtGames were kind of in limbo.
Oh,
Yes, we did see that a while ago.
Saber had the
Yeah.
option to buy us, and that option fell apart a couple months ago. And so we now know that we're an Embracer company. Embracer is currently splitting into 3 different groups. We're not exactly sure where we're going to end up, but I have the freedom and the latitude to do as I want now, which is I think good. We got into some trouble under the old regime.
excellent.
That's really good to
Um,
hear.
yeah, especially, and I don't know exactly what the extent of it is, but it's like I had heard that Farsight, who I mean they've been done with pinball for years now, but I had heard that their last employee that had anything to do with pinball had left, and it was kind of like, okay, I think that is officially the nail in the coffin on that. But it did make me think of one thing, and that is they're still very much in control, as far as I can tell, of the Gottlieb license. And I don't know if you know anything about the Gottlieb license. We keep on pitching that Magic Pixel needs to get that license because we think they would just run away with it. Do you have any insight into Gottlieb's license?
Not a whole lot. We were approached a while ago about it, and I just think that timing is everything in
Yeah.
a lot of cases. I don't think that it was interesting to us at that point, but it could be. And Magic Pixel might be a good. There's a lot of alignment. We work with Magic Pixel on a daily basis, and of course with AtGames. So
Mm-hmm.
I think there's this thing now. It used to be like we're competitors.
Yeah.
Now it's like we're all very friendly, and we see opportunity to grow category classic gaming, and
Yeah.
pinball is a big part of it to really keep the hobby alive and keep it healthy. So I hope it ends up in a good home, and if that's Magic Pixel or something like that, that'd be great.
Shall we move on to the next category,
Did
Jared?
I leave you speechless?
No.
Yeah.
That's it. It makes us think.
Yeah, it really does. It's a hanging license, and it's like
Yeah.
the Gottlieb pedigree goes on for decades. Like it is such a massive opportunity for whoever picks it up. I'd really hope it doesn't just rot and stay there and not be picked up, because it's just got so much potential. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, but moving on. Where are we going to go next? I think we're going into.
Let's go into Pinball M.
Yes, it's a land of Pinball M. Now, how's it going in the Pinball M land after like a year now, hasn't it been, since it was released?
almost a year. It was
Mm.
supposed to release the week before Halloween of 2023, and we muffed it.
Yeah.
It ended up releasing like at the end of November, and so we didn't, like it didn't go the way it was playing out in my head. We're gonna have this Halloween release, and we're gonna launch then. We got the perfect IPs, so like launching in November, launching a horror title in November, you can still be successful, and we have been. But I just wonder what it would have been if our timing was lined up in our mark, because we had great build up to it, and then it was just like, oh, it's not coming in Halloween. I think we were like, like we'll wait till next Halloween when it's on sale, because we just went through our Halloween sale, and I can tell you, we exceeded our launch revenue
Oh
by a
Oh
wow.
bit.
wow.
So yes, it's going well.
And that was on
And
sale. That's not
yeah, yeah.
like full price titles.
Well, right.
You
I
exceeded.
mean, like I've come to a reality that like pinball launches are not that exciting for most people. It's
Mm.
exciting for our core audience and for people who love the hobby, and like, but most people are buying pinball games when they're on sale.
Oh yeah.
So I was waiting to get to this point to really know what the potential impact could be, with the Halloween theme. Like we just did Camp Leadbrook, and we put everything, decent discounts, and yeah, it just shot through the roof. It was awesome. We had a decent year one. I'm expecting now our year two is going to be way bigger than year one.
I
So
gotta say
Wow.
that it
yeah,
feels like uh, there were some real leaps and bounds within Pinball M that have now found its way into Pinball FX in terms of use of the video screen and like how you guys use that screen now is phenomenal. The video clips that you guys put in are just like spot on. It really feels like it's no longer just we're trying to put something in there, but now like you guys have a real good grasp on it and the storytelling. I don't know if you can speak to any of that.
yeah. A lot of that actually depends on the licensor. If we're talking about licensed content, like The Princess Bride was really cool because we had clips straight from the film, and they made it very easy for us to access, and that was part of the license grant.
Yeah.
Other companies, you need to actually you pay extra to source that material, and then you have a licensing fee on top of it. So
Mm-hmm.
Right.
it's like we know what our budget is per game, and we can't exceed it too much, like we always do, I think. But really having access to the content, I think, is what will drive how much we can use that video screen and how cool it is. I think so. That's part of it. But then, yeah, just like with anything, as time goes on, and we become more efficient and affluent with our tech and what we're doing, it's going to be better. And so I'm glad that you're seeing that.
It brings me to another question about this, and this is on the, I guess, the licensor side. It's, I'd imagine that there's going to be some licensors out there that wouldn't really be wanting to do some of their like flagship brands unless they were able to fully realize them in a platform like Pinball M. So full gore, full horror, that sort of thing. Have overall have the licensors been really happy with the end result of all of these properties? I mean, obviously they have to approve them before they go out, but have they been going, wow, this really feels like a good fit?
Yeah, there's a couple ways to look at it. One, it's it's a good game, and it's a good representation of their IP. So they're
Mm,
happy. They're happy with that. They're happy with the presentation. They're happy with the reception in the market, with the
yep.
sales. So I think overall it's a positive story, and I think it's going to be even more positive when we tally up what happened over the Halloween period, in the game being on sale and available for Halloween. And like having Chucky and the Thing, and like those are iconic. And then we've got these others, System Shock, which is really cool just because we're friends with Night Dive Studio and Larry Kupperman over there, who is a massive Pinball FX fan, and we've always wanted to work together. So we made it happen, but it fits really well into there. And then we saw, tried this like funky thing. Why don't we make it also available for Pinball FX, and start this idea, if you buy it in one, you get it in the other, and see if we can bring players who maybe didn't know about the game into another. And we see that working, so maybe there's a world where like we can keep making if we're doing an M table, we do the toned down version for someone who doesn't want to be an M world. But we like trying these things, and it seems to be working.
Is there, because I know that on Steam, that's the one place where it's not available within the platform.
Yeah.
Is that just, are we at still just a roadblock on that, or they're still pushing to get that through at some point?
Yeah, I could make headlines here. No, probably nobody cares. Like I don't know why Steam told us not to do Pinball M. They said it was a stupid idea. Why would you fragment your player base? Why would you offer another game in the genre? And we told them all. I gave them the whole story and I told them why we would do this. And then they said, "Fine, you can make the game." And then we did it, and it's been fine. But they've always allowed us to pioneer and do crazy things like the backwards compatibility and some of the cross play and cross platform. But for this, for whatever reason, like they just don't want us doing it. I don't understand,
Hmm.
but I have no idea really at the end of the day why they restrict us from doing this. Everybody else is fine with it. So
Yeah, that's really odd. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, for the most part, Pinball M has been horror. I feel like System Shock it's horror adjacent. It's not as hardcore as some of these others. Do you
Hmm.
guys feel like that you can expand from outside of horror, but still with other mature themes? Is that kind of something that's on the forefront now in your minds?
it's definitely on my mind. Although all of the theme requests that we get are horror related, I haven't seen anyone ask for like some raunch comedy or I don't know, like
No, but I mean, there's
something
like
like
certain
action film.
action
Even that
films
is
that just lend themselves immediately to a mature theme, comedy. I mean, just based off what you guys did with Princess Bride, there's a myriad of comedies that are, I don't know, Animal House, The Table. I don't, whatever. It's like,
yeah. No, I mean that's what I was expecting, and we just did this exercise where we were asking people like, or we're always wondering what people want. That's
yeah,
what we'd like to be making is what you want. But I swear it's always like horror when we were like Saw. It feels like everybody wants a Saw table. I swear, like I see that everywhere. But I don't know, Chris. Like, if you have ideas, you should tell me because
I always have ideas, Mel. If
Yeah.
and I keep on going back to, there's where if you ever went into the anime world, things like Akira, where it's just there's some
Oh,
serious
yeah.
body
Jeez.
horror in that thing. That
yeah,
would be, smash it for pinball world. There's I feel like there's all sorts of genres that would definitely fit well within the Pinball M uh, category.
yeah.
Is Pinball M going to continue being, though, a Zen Originals only platform? Or do you see there being certain content that, uh, like, I know there are certain Williams licenses that had alternate titles, or even modern pinball today? I know that you're
Pinball M
not.
will hopefully have Williams in it at some point. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Oh, good. All right. Well, that sort of yeah, definitely answers the question about it being just sort of originals as well. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of. It sounds like there's going to be more variety coming down eventually, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm interested in a couple of more nerdy things. So it's more about I always like because I mean the job I am, I always looking at stats. Is there a table or like a pack perhaps because some of them are released in packs initially that's really performed really well on the platform? I don't know if you can talk to that, but because it
On
might be a bit
Pinball M.
sensitive. Yeah, on Pinball M, one's
Well,
been really well received.
yeah. I mean, so far it's all been individual releases unless you've gone to the Death Save bundle. The Death Save
Yeah.
bundle is by far the most popular way to buy Pinball M content in the game.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we actually see this. We see bundles doing extremely well in all of our pinball games. So it would make sense, right? Like you get a deal and you get one purchase, one button. So
Do you think that's why the shift was made just more broadly into releasing in bundles rather than the individuals? I know there was probably another reason behind that, but it seems that the data's there. It proves that packs do sell better.
yeah. Well, again, I Well, let's see. So we have Duke Nukem, we have Dead by Daylight, Chucky, and The Thing, all in the Death Save bundle.
Hmm.
Or you can buy them individually. So we can't sell them as a pack because you have different licensors. But what they'll let us do and what they're more open to now is creating the bundle. So
Right.
so that's what we would do. But like a pack of horror, it might be like unless you did, I don't know, like you could do Friday the 13th or Halloween or something like they have a long range of eras in the content, so you could do a pack. But so far for Pinball M, I mean, yeah, it's mostly been individual one-off tables for the license.
Yeah, speaking of Friday the 13th, Mel, I did make a back glass for Camp Bloodbrook. There, I corrected it for you guys.
It's funny. People were asking, "Oh, did you guys just fall out with the Friday the 13th license?" I mean, no, this was this was our own version, our own campy B horror film.
So
whatever,
it was
but,
developed
yeah.
from scratch as that, because
It was.
I mean, it very much feels like an 80s slasher film. Like I think you guys nailed the theme 100%. So
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a funny thing. Like we had this slot available, and it probably was meant for a license at some point. But when everything was going on, and we kind of had to cool on signing new things, we just said, "Well, do we have any good concepts for an original M table?" And Dolby brought this to us, and we're like, "It feels like a campy B horror film from the '80s. Let's do it." So yeah, that's how it happened. And Dolby's fantastic. He's been doing a great job. So.
Yeah. It plays. It's a lot of fun to play. It really flows well.
I love the big knife,
the big machete coming across. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's just such a
cool.
dominant feature in the game. It's great.
Yeah,
it's a jump scare for sure when it gets you the first time. It's like it's great.
Let's talk about this. Just kind of pinball effects in general. Looking forward to 2025. This last year we had, 12, 13 tables, I think, in general, and that's including Pinball M. We still on pace for that. This next year, we ramping up a little bit more. Where are we at in terms of the targeting?
We'll be on pace for that same amount, if not a couple more, in 25.
Okay.
And we're gonna have a lot more Williams in 25.
Oh,
that's good. That'll make a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then I know a lot of people have been asking Pinball Royale. It seems that it's stalled on the idea or whatever. Where are you in terms of just multiplayer in general?
Yeah. So let me answer this in a different way.
Yeah.
Pinball. We've been cleaning up Pinball FX a lot. I feel like we tried a lot of things. We had certain ideas about things. We tried it, didn't work, learned the lesson, tried to cut it out and focus on the things that bring value and that players actually want. So that's where we've been spending a lot of time and energy this year. And I feel like Pinball FX is a completely different game than when it launched. That said, Pinball Royale is not happening. It's dead for all intents and purposes right now. We have a concept for multiplayer. Which is going to come out next year, which I think is going to hit the right notes, and we'll see. Everybody will tell us, but
yeah, I'm sure they will.
They will. Yeah,
we'll know very quickly. And what we'll probably do is it probably will be released in first we'll do closed beta, get all your feedback from all the NDA group who tell us their honest opinions and all this stuff. And if it's going well, it'll release, But we need to solve multiplayer. It's absolutely mandatory. It's a thing that we are going to do. So
that's really good. Yeah. I remember, when Pinball FX launched, like the brand new platform, we were talking about all the way back then the notion of like a 10-year strategy for the platform, and it feels like we're about, I'd like to say, 4 years, maybe my date's a little bit off, but let's call it almost halfway through the 10 years at the moment. How are you feeling about it? Like 5 years in, are you where you want to be? Are you a little bit behind, or what's the feeling?
If I'm being honest with you, I think we're a little bit behind, and I think we've hit. I think we did some pretty major mistakes. Some were our fault, others we had no choice in. I still, I think a lot of people wrote us off when we couldn't offer backwards compatibility, and we haven't seen those players come back. I think going forward, if we ever have the opportunity or we can do that, we will do that. So I think that has set us back, and I think we took a brand hit. I think what people think of Pinball FX is different than what they thought from FX3. I do think that we found some great surprises though, and some cool things which we see bringing people in, like quest lines. Those are really, really positive and a lot of fun. I think the diversity of content is more appealing than we had ever before in the history of pinball. I think there really is something for everybody there in a all ages game in Pinball FX, and everything from Williams to stuff for the kids to mass market entertainment to some surprises and like indie stuff and cult following. So I think in that aspect we're doing really well, but I still think that we need to win back a lot of players who left us, and I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if they'll ever come back and join us, but I hope they do. I hope that they love the game. That pinball, their itch will bring them into the game. That they'll see that we're really working hard and trying hard to be back to our former Zen ways.
Regardless,
it feels like there's going to be. I was going to say, I think for those players that are still, hanging on to Pinball FX3, I feel that there's going to be a thing. There's going to be one thing that you introduce in the next, 3 or so years that will be the tipping point for them. And they'll go, okay, I'm in. Like, you got me. This is what I've been wanting for ages. And that will be the thing that will bring them back in. So I think the idea with innovation and trying new things and bringing new experiences and IPs and all that sort of stuff, it may not be, the way I'm thinking is like the way it might not be like the strategy as a whole, but I think it's going to be the thing that will pull someone back in. You'll get them and they'll understand it then.
Cool. Yeah, that's my hope. Thanks, Jared. Inspirational right there.
Right?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether Zen has the license, wants the license, knows they'll never get the license, Mel, what are your top 5 Holy Grail tables that you would like to see in Zen at some point? Like pie in the sky, licensing being damned. What is it that you would love to see?
I'd love to do the Fifth Element. I would love Starship Troopers.
Oh, yes.
Congo. I know that's what everybody wants as well. Like the Williams Congo. I've been on a wild witch hunt on that one, I feel like. Let's see. Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
That's some top titles right there.
Right? That's
and licensing definitely be damned on those.
Again, we can all dream. We can hope.
Listen, on the Lord of the Rings side, I am playing with house money, I think. So hopefully we can make that happen.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Lord of the Rings is owned by Embracer Group, so Middle Earth Enterprise.
Oh, so if you went and were able to create your own whole story, or not story, but obviously we're not talking Stern Lord of the Rings, but your own original version of Lord of the Rings. That's right.
So it's going to be a adaptation of the lore, I guess. It can't be like any existing art that's out there.
I don't think we could afford the Warner Brothers Peter Jackson. Like anytime you touch that, it's crazy. But we could do our own interpretation of Lord of the Rings.
It's like maybe you could afford the Amazon version, or go old school and go Ralph Bakshi animated Hobbit.
There you go.
Oh wow, that's something. Right.
That's a deep cut right there.
Let's not do that.
That was my childhood right there. And we can't not ask this question because we're going to ask it every single year. Real world studios that are out there, any nuggets, anything that we can go, it's a possibility in the future.
I wouldn't say right now. We're all friends. We all talk. We all dream.
Okay.
No
We
one
all
wants
have
to get in
ideas,
though.
but I mean, it's difficult. Like if you think about it, Zen needs to make money, the manufacturer needs to make money, and the licensor needs to make money. And it's like, how many? I don't know. How can you split up that so
I was
everybody's
gonna say it's a
happy?
lot of
But
slices of pie right there.
that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
let's go ahead then and move into those Zen Originals.
Hmm.
Again, I feel like things that you've learned in Pinball M have found themselves into Zen Originals, and it's only been improving what's been happening with those. Again, that Knight Rider table is phenomenal. It just that hit me right in the nostalgia feels. Thank you for getting the music license on that.
Oh yeah.
And that back glass, it was just like, yeah, that's the interior of the car. Love it. You're
Yeah.
the video screen. You guys nailed that one so hard. It's
Cool.
amazing. Love it. Um, there how is the R&D though between like a wholly original Zen license, no IP attached, versus an IP attached license? Uh, how does that affect bottom line? Because I know that R&D might be longer on one than the other. Do they wind up kind of balancing out at the end, or where is that in the scope of things?
Yeah, I still think, I mean, licensed content does better, but our originals, like players love them. So we always, I think I told you, I mean, like we always want to have them,
Yeah.
something going on. And there was we had a real drought of Zen Originals for a while.
Hmm.
And we felt that licensed games do take more resources to create. There's no question about
Hmm.
that. It's going to cost, in some cases, twice as much.
Right.
A lot of times it's just time because you're waiting for things to get approved. And like in the case of like Knight Rider, Xena, and Battlestar, right? That's a whole pack, and then that team is working on how many other games, because I mean they're making a lot of games, and so sometimes you end up waiting, and you go through extra approvals, and just stuff. So if we were just doing Zen Originals, we could probably in Williams don't take as long, but it's hard for us sometimes to source the machine. We need to have the machine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, all these we've I think we found a good balance of Zen Originals, licensed originals, and then the Williams games. Although we're coming off of a big Williams drought, I know that, but and I said more Williams next year, so we're kind of, I don't know. It's a tough thing to manage.
I think you guys though should take heart with your originals. Both me and Jared have noticed that there are a lot of elements from Zen tables, the fantasy pinball, that have now been finding themselves in real world pinball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Stern is looking at your playbook, and like the pop up target in
Jaws.
Jaws.
Yeah.
That's there's some yeah, some history there. It's
Well, and
I was
just
going
even I'm thinking even with X-Men, just the idea of breaking a ramp with a hand coming down, that is straight out of some of the things that you guys have done, where some physical thing alters the course of the ball.
yeah.
Look,
I would pat yourselves on the back, is what I'm saying.
back in the early days, one could say, "Oh, this layout looks very much like that layout," and
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
were learning a lot from them. But it's true. We see them taking cues from us, and yeah, look, technology in the real world, as technology gets better and better, and you can do cool things like the gap between digital and physical, maybe it can be blurred more. That's fun. That's really cool.
I wonder if it's almost like the whole bit with how science fiction made people think of how to actually do it in real life, and is Pinball FX in some way like the science fiction version of what we're seeing now in pinball? Because people, it like you plants the seed, like you see something, you experience something, you go, how would I do that mechanically in a game? And that's where we're seeing like the flip around now.
Well, I
It's
think
really interesting.
to that point, Jared, I think that also with as many years as digital pinball has now been available, because when did Zen 1 premiere?
2007, Pinball FX came out on Xbox Live
Right.
Arcade.
So you've got individuals that grew up with that are now in positions at actual pinball companies.
They're designing them.
So I think that's where that's coming from now. As opposed to back then, there was that hard line of, oh, digital pinball's not real pinball. So nobody would even glance at it.
Yeah, I think the technology, we've seen it with like the advancements between like the PX engine and Unreal Engine 4, just the realism that you can get now. And I think that's making people sit up and take notice way more than they did in the past. Like, imagine trying to do what you were doing with AtGames, even 6 years ago. Like, you wouldn't have been able to do that and get the realism and immersion that you're getting now. Like,
That's true.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
We finally learned a few things.
I don't think you ever stop learning new things from what I've seen.
Regarding licensing with Zen Originals and stuff, obviously, recently we had the Balls of Glory pack pulled from FX3. We still have not seen Bethesda, the Aliens pack. I think there's one other that I'm missing.
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead,
Walking
Portal.
Dead, yeah.
I mean, but you had said early on that Portal and Walking Dead were probably not going to be coming over to Pinball FX, and then you later were like, hey, it might, But specifically, people are definitely wondering, Aliens, is that still in the books as a possibility?
Yeah, I think it's on the table.
Especially with Romulus being a hit.
I think Fox is... So Fox was integrated into Disney, and then there were some challenges. And if you look, I mean, I think there's public record about what happened with Archer and Disney and Fox and the whole relationship. And so unfortunately, that pack kind of got caught up in things, again, that Zen had no control over. And so, I don't know. Right now, it's off the market, right? Aliens, it's, again, in that Fox zone. So I'm hopeful that we can bring it. We just haven't been given the green light just yet. But it's not getting pulled off the market or anything like that. That's still solid and not at any risk. Bethesda, we need to circle around and get some things done. We saw, I mean, it was kind of a miss not to have.
We got a freeze up.
Fallout table available on.
Hold on, go back, Mel. We completely lost you on that one. Oh no, we really lost him.
No, yeah, he's back again.
Bethesda.
Yeah, about Bethesda. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know why I wonder if my kids are streaming like 1,000 different things right now.
Just look at the quality of service settings on your router.
You said you missed it. You were starting to talk about Aliens, and you said you missed something, and that's where it fuzzed out.
Yeah.
Oh well, I would say we missed not having the Bethesda presence in Pinball FX with the hit of Fallout.
Oh yeah,
right.
Sure.
But we saw in FX3 like the sales went. I mean, Bethesda Pinball's been selling great, so we definitely want to keep that going. I would say that that's in our interest to get that done. There's a lot of things I can't say about certain aspects of this, but we want to do it. So
well, when you get Fox back on the horn to deal with Aliens, we do have Alien Romulus now. There's a new Predator movie in the books, and we missed out on Prey. There's a lot of content you guys can continue on that would fit perfect in Pinball M. Just saying.
I firmly agree. I also think that Bethesda has some good stuff that we could bring into Pinball M.
Oh, so. Doom in Pinball M. There's a version right there.
I mean, it was already pretty full on in just regular, the regular platform, but I'm
not going to say I'm surprised that passed muster with.
It was
E10. That was back when Pinball FX was like E10, right? So
yeah, that would be knife edge stuff right there.
We always like to touch base and figure out where the balance is of you guys seeking out a license versus licensors seeking you out. Where's the scales tipping these days?
I'm inundated with requests, except for the ones that I told you were my dream ones, right?
Well, yeah.
But some of those are also not like, I don't think Sony's out there shopping around Fifth Element stuff right now.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know. everybody's always talking about pinball or asking if we're signing licenses and if we can bring their stuff. Some of them are really interesting. Some like I want to keep it interesting as well. So in economics seem to be good, and but I don't ever go out and look for a license. I'll just put it that way.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, people are coming to
Yeah.
you.
Um, let's wrap up. Final topic being Williams tables in general.
Yeah.
First off, is there an emulation cutoff point that you guys have? Like, are we talking, nothing pre 1981, or is it really just like anything's on the books for you guys?
I think we don't have a cutoff, and uh, no, it really comes down to what we have access to.
Okay.
Right.
In kind of like Jared, I don't think you have like sitting out there in Australia. How many pinball machines are like? Do you have a Cactus Canyon anywhere nearby?
Oh, maybe a remake.
Okay.
In a
Remake
private
would be
collection.
fine.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
I mean,
Um,
I've been trying so hard to get a Cactus Canyon into Hungary, or locate it there, or figure out how to get one to our office. I mean, it's just like, how do we do it?
Yeah.
it's such a shame that you just can't go to someone like Chicago Gaming and go, can we just have the 3D assets? Can we just start purely digital and just get them? Especially with all these ones that are coming out as remakes, like even like Funhouse now has a Pedretti Gaming has
Oh,
done
yeah.
a version 2 of that. And there's even a Whirlwind version 2 now out there with Pedretti. I think they're doing it. So surely they will have all of these assets because they wouldn't be able to make them from original molds. They would have had to redesign everything and do it from scratch. So it's like they're got to be out there somewhere. These digital assets are got to be there. You just
Yeah. Well, sometimes people don't like to
to
share.
give those over. Yeah, I'm not even at all surprised.
But the challenge really is, I mean, we have a great relationship with the Budapest Pinball Museum,
mm,
and we actually support them with our charity pack, which is cool, right? So
mm,
we're bringing funds into there and also funding into charity here in the States. But we borrow machines from them, and we need to find more machines. That's been a big problem. And then we got like next year we're going to have a healthy dose of Williams. We were able to get our hands on a lot of machines. So
that's really good. So, like, as far as like titles that are remaining for the ones that people are most sought after, or even not, like, how many more tables do you think realistically remain for that Williams category in Pinball FX? Like, is there an endpoint, or is it like, no, we'll keep going until people stop buying them?
yeah, we'll keep going. If people keep buying them the way that they have volumes 1 through 7 at this point, well, volume 7 was a collection of individual releases that we put together, right? If they
Mm,
keep buying them at the rate and the pace that they did, we will keep making them. There's no question. And volume 8 is coming still this year.
nice.
So
Yeah, because we
I
have
think in our
it's
next pinball bite
Earthshaker
section.
and Two Unknowns, which I'm sure by the time we release this or whatever, probably there's been a Pinball Bites that's given a hint as what one of those is.
Probably.
I think
Yeah.
we're releasing one, or we're announcing another one sometime in November, and then the third one will be revealed in the pinball bites, and then
Okay.
it'll ship. So
Yeah. Right.
Some of the Williams titles that have yet to be done, the back glass actually plays a prominent role in some of that gameplay. And I mean, even if you go to Whirlwind, where they just have the little square lights that are on there, you guys wound up putting that underneath the DMD to make that work. But things like Brida Pinbot had it all up and down her leg. Those are things that are required. I shouldn't say required, but they're on the back glass and are animated and such. But then you have other games where it's much, much more integrated. I'm thinking like Scared Stiff or something
Oh
like
yeah.
Cyclone, where it has the little meter that rises and stuff like that. Does Zen have an idea of how they would approach that kind of table then? Should it be done?
mm, probably, I'll give you a generic answer,
Sure.
Mm,
as authentic as possible. Like
Oh,
yeah.
do it the way it's supposed to be done. I mean, that's our mentality with all the Williams games is we are recreating history and we're making them for people who really love this thing and care about the details. So I think that we would only take on something if we could do it authentic and true to form.
Is there a particular Williams title or pack that you hear that sells the most, that you're like, that's the most popular of our Williams that we've got out there?
So the first Williams pack is the best seller of all time for us for Williams, which is no surprise.
Mm.
And then the individual games, the big hitters as I call them, have all done fantastic. And while Indiana Jones is $14.99, it's sold tremendously well, and people seem to appreciate the work that was done and went into it to make it happen. And it carries the premium, and it's been fine. So, but up and down the Williams line, it's been fantastic for us, and we will continue to do them as long as people want them. So, but I know people really like Terminator and Elvira and Judge Dredd and some of these that we need to get
NBA Fast Break and roller games?
NBA.
Oh, because I can't not let that get announced.
NBA Fast Break, yeah. We were very close on NBA Fast Break. We still
don't
talk.
tell me that. Don't tease me like that, Mel.
If we got Indiana Jones done, I think
you can get anything done
over the course of time. We should be able to get anything done.
Yeah.
It's actually
timing,
makes me wonder.
It's a lot about timing. It's a lot about just people being interested in it at the right moment, or they're too busy with something else. I don't know.
It makes me wonder. I remember when Indiana Jones came out, it was like a really difficult decision to price it the way it was, but it was inevitable given the costs associated with it. Now that you've got the data on it, are you actually going, well, there was a bit of initial skepticism about it, but the data doesn't lie. People will actually invest the money if they see the value in it. Does that perhaps open up pathways for other licenses that may have been considered unobtainium before as a way of getting the table across the line?
Absolutely. And I think that there's the potential that we'd have one more game priced at Indiana Jones level because it requires this Schwarzenegger to get paid.
Yes. The Governor.
The Governor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like the number is what it is, and it doesn't. It's like you want to play ball.
Price.
Here it is.
This is the cost. Pay the man.
Yes. And look, I mean, so you look at it and we're like, well, okay, we're gonna charge this much for Indiana Jones. We're not gonna make very much on it, but does that mean that people will come into Pinball FX and maybe spend money everywhere else?
Yeah. Is it like a lost leader?
I was gonna say,
yeah. So those are of course we have those conversations.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Jared, you got any last questions for Mel?
I don't think so. I'm looking through the very long list of questions we got. And I just want to take this time now just to thank everyone who's sent in questions to us for Mel to answer, because there's been some really good ones coming through. So if you are one of those people who sent questions in, hopefully we've answered them for you in the session here. So yeah, I think that's probably, I don't see anything else jumping out from the list. Chris, I guess I was going to say, have you got anything you want to talk about in general, Mel, that we haven't talked about here? Because it's always like we're grilling you with the 20 questions, but it's always like, is there anything else you want to actually say in general about the platform, or just stuff in general?
I don't know, man. We covered a lot of ground. I feel like, and I feel like you're probably pretty up to date as to what we're doing, what our plans are. I'll just say it's been a crazy couple of years, and thanks to everybody for kind of bearing with us as we tried and failed at certain things. But I think the story is like, don't overcomplicate and don't overthink things. So we're trying to go back to some simplicity and back to hopefully the way that everybody viewed Zen and thought about Pinball FX and our pinball games from before. We still love it. We still are so much committed to this. And, the team, I don't know, it's just crazy how much passion goes into it still, even after all this time. So I guess that's my message, as to where we are right now.
Well, it certainly seems like, I mean, there is going to be, whether there's already exists a way to play the game right now or this coming year, new ways to play the game. There's so many different avenues that are going to be out there for everybody to play and sample in. And I think that's the most important part, is that reaching the audience however they can be reached, and being there for them and giving them the product in a form that is excellent to play on. So keep that up. We love seeing it. I'm amazed that I keep on being excited by releases on AtGames when I'm like, I literally already own this table. Why am I getting excited to play it this week? And yet it's because of the form factor. So I think the same thing can probably be said once it comes out on VR, because there's a whole host of people that live and breathe by playing pinball in VR. And that's going to be their golden ticket right there. So I think this next year is going to be fantastic, and we can't wait to see what Zen has in store for us.
Cool. Thanks, guys. And let's keep working at it and making it as fun as we can and all the different ways to play. That's what it's all about.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mel. As for myself and Jared, folks, we'll be back around next time talking about, I don't know, everything that Jared loves to talk about.
Stuff and things.
Until then, folks, bye-bye.
See you later.